their drafts, I'm very excited to see how they execute it because they picked out heroes that were not the most meta choices that we've seen, but we never know how they play out in the actual tournament until you try it, and I'm very excited to see them try it.
Yeah, I do. For me right now, Aether Explicit, I feel like they have an early game that you're gonna have to deal with as Phoenix right now, and also that we're gonna have issues with Lance. He's gonna be very hungry for that blue buff, and if you start kind of harassing him, as we see happening here right now, Sushi kind of just going in deep, not really caring about the damage that can be done, and is gonna go ahead and safely disengage there.
Yeah, right. I feel like for Team Aether Explicit, their draft is a little bit squishy, I would say, towards so there's a black screen right now.
Yeah, a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we are continuing on. We do see kind of a duo at mid lane, but it does look like Bocarasco doing his best, able to kind of manage that. They are keeping him busy, which I do like, especially for Bocarasco, who is known for those early rotations I've seen in most of his game. A little bit of an engagement up on top, and Nara is definitely going to have to disengage there. A little less than half health and is going to be forced to go back to base.
And Jesse is a very good marksman player. As a jungler, previously when I've had experience with him, so I feel like maybe for him the Issun is a comfort pick.
Yeah, we do see that Mountain Shocker coming down, taking Vincent very low there. He is going to have to disengage. Tempest and Sushi are going to go ahead, try to get onto this Lance. Hezi is going to go ahead and use that Thorned Rose, but disengage. They're not really in too much of a panic here, but we do have 2 seconds for this Lord, and I feel like this first Lord is going to be pretty important for the momentum of this game.
Definitely, and right now both teams are rotating towards the Lord. Hilda is kind of securing the position in the bush. I'm not sure if she's gonna get caught right here.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble there. We do see a 4v3 potentially here. Esmeralda is still busy at the top, but this turtle is being taken down on the side of Aether Explicit. They do have a good position on it. Bocarasco and Sushi trying to do their best to zone out this right now. It looks like they might not be able to counter this. They are kind of jockeying for position. As he coming in, he does get the Lord, and a little bit of an engagement happening here, but they're not able to make them pay for it as Tempest goes in, but the rest of Team Phoenix is going to be able to disengage here, and what a good pickup by them.
The problem with Aether Explicit's draft right now is it's hard to get to that Lancelot and hard to zone him out in these kind of team fights for him, because all he needs is a second skill with Retry to secure that objective. And when that happens, Hilda, for example, does not provide much crowd control in this situation, so that might be a point to consider for Aether Explicit in their draft and how they play that out.
Yeah, and that's a good point to bring up there. There really is not. Hilda does provide that harassment, but not actually able to stop anybody. And there's not really going to be much, especially with Kupra picked up by Phoenix Ravens. There's not going to be much to stop Lance from just having his way and dashing through. So that is definitely a good point. We do see a little bit of toying around here, but not much action down here at the bottom. Both teams being a little bit safer. Still 50 seconds left on that next turtle.
And I feel like right now, for looking at the draft for both sides, Phoenix Ravens, I would say that they have a strong, like a bit more balance towards the late game, with Kufra and with the amount of crowd control, as well as the different, like the heroes are very balanced. And when you get carry farmed towards the game, and as well as Xavier, there's going to be a lot of damage going on to side of Aether Explicit. And for Aether Explicit, there's barely any crowd control, I would say, from their draft. So they really need to look, maybe before securing objective, they need to find a way to zone the Lancelot out, as well as get him low before he was able to retry something.
Yeah, especially as we move into this late game, that speedy light wheel on pregnant things will be another issue. If you don't have CC, you're not going to be able to stop a bunch of that damage that's going to be come out, and she's going to have that passive and just be raining down a ton of violence onto the side of Aether Explicit. So it's definitely going to come down to how well we zone, how much damage we can do. We do see that IMU coming out from Bocarasco here. Mountain Shocker getting a little bit of vision on the enemy team as they are going to go ahead and start pulling out this turtle. both teams kind of jockeying for position here. And Era, we do see a little bit of CC coming down, but the Bokarasco is able to pick up the turtle. Vincent does take down Jesty. A lot of damage coming down. Hezi takes down Sushi, but Vincent goes down as well. So that is a 1-for-2 trade, but Aether Explicit was able to get up the turtle, and I'm not sure if that was worth it for them.
Towards right now, they're gold wise, they are a little bit behind from Phoenix with that trade. So far, I think it's not a significant deal right now. Looking at them, like it's not a huge step back losing that turtle, but we do see that Valentina's damage just with one skill. The damage already coming up in the early game in securing that turtle. It was just one skill, and then she was able to get it, beating out both retries.
Yeah, beating out both retries, able to get that with her damage there. We do see Tempest getting zoned out here a bit. Hezi letting them know that is his jungle still. A little bit of a push coming down here at bottom. Great zoning by the side of Aether Explicit here to go ahead and take the first tower of the game.
Yeah, so they were able to get some objectives out, and so far right now, I feel like both teams are not making much mistakes. They are engaging the team fight, and whatever comes out of it is right now is not really like there's not a big mistake coming from either side. It's just how you kind of position yourself, and for Aether Explicit, they do lack some early game some crowd control to get onto the back lines of Phoenix. And then with that Kufra, like that march, like that charging in, it's hard to deal with Kufra for Ascension to do damage to the objectives.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit of shadows of this last week, where high kill games don't necessarily mean you're going to be able to win. You do need to translate those kills into objectives, into towers, into turtles. And right now, I feel like Aether Explicit, their macro is pretty much on point so far.
Yeah, and right now we're looking at a third turtle. They are in a good position for this turtle fight, but we do see a march in going in.
Yeah, Dawning Light coming down there. Tempest is going to have to go ahead and disengage from that. We do see a Tyrant's Revenge coming in with the Tyrant's Rage as well. Bokarasco taken down. Unfortunately, we do see that Blazing Duet coming in onto Phoenix right now. Saba's going to go ahead and disengage as Jesty picks up that turtle. So they are able to take it with one kill. Oh my gosh. Another kill, a pair of kills traded by both Aether Explicit and Phoenix Ravens. And Aether Explicit able to get the turtle, but do suffer 2 more deaths.
I think deaths right in this point of time is not a huge step back so far, but with the Ascension, like late game right now, you see his damage early game towards in jungling is a little bit slow. It takes him a little bit of time to get these objectives, but we see a bit of a team fight going down in bottom lane right now.
Yeah, they are going to go ahead and disengage here, but right now we are at the 8-minute mark. As we check the items, we do see that Carrie has gone ahead and finished up that DHS, that Demon Hunter Sword, and the Wind Talker as well. And the Demon Hunter Sword is the only thing being picked up by Saba right now on that Claude. So definitely Carrie scaling a little better, has about 1K more gold. So as far as marksmans are concerned, Carrie's starting to get to that late game a lot faster than Saba is on this Claude.
And that's something that Aether Explicit do need to look out for towards the late game. But overall, this game so far is pretty balanced between both sides. I do feel like Aether Explicit has, they lost the first turtle, but afterwards they were able to gain more momentum and secure the next 2 objectives. And they're able to push 2 towers, push down 1 tower, and almost the mid lane tower so far.
Yeah, so and I do feel like their macro is on point. We do see Tempest getting a little eager there, totally cutting the second part of the lane in there, as he is going to be answered there by Inara on that Thamus there. We do see a Mountain Shocker go out as we get a little bit of vision, and this mid tower goes down as well. So you were right too, like they are doing well on the macro. Up at the top, we do miss Pregnant Things get taken down, and another tower. So we do have this first row of towers taken down in favor of Aether Explicit right now.
Thing that we look out for when drafting a carry, there is not enough mobility for you to be on a side lane on your own and not have vision around that, because we see Kufra was down on bot lane, but right now team Aether Explicit is doing the Lord. I don't think Phoenix is even close to contesting this, so it will be a free Lord for Aether Explicit.
Yeah, sadly, right now, Aether Explicit, well, maybe not sadly, they have picked up the lead. So, and it doesn't really look like they're going to be giving it up. Ever since they started getting that first turtle, they kind of swung that gold lead into their hands and have not let up so far. Even though, like, the team fights might not really end up, the stats for the team fights might not end in their favor. They are securing these turtles. They are getting these towers, and they are pushing into the base. So their rotation's a little bit more on par, as we do see all the lanes kind of like synced up here, and they're going to be need to be answered for on the side of Phoenix Ravens. Up at the top, we do have a 4-man onto that tower. It's going to go down quite quickly, as well as the bottom tower. We do see Kufra sitting here, laying in wait here, but not going to be able to do much. Is going to have to disengage, as we have this final tower that will set up for these inhibitors. A lot of damage coming down. Jesse is going to be taken down here. Bokarasco is going to have to try to disengage here. Is able to get that fear out there, but Thorn Rose is going to be able to finish him off, and a great engagement by Phoenix Ravens on this defense, but they did lose 2 towers in this Lord push.
The Kufra, I'm surprised that Jesse did not see Kufra march in and still got caught with that ultimate, because he was I think that he was trying to push down that tower and it was a little bit out of position, because you see Kufra still charging in and he still got caught and with that ultimate and suffered a death. But it's not a huge deal, because a Lord is spawning in 80 seconds. He will be alive and have his skills back by that time.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of tunnel vision on the side of Jesse, seeing red there, just wanting to focus on getting that tower down. It would put Aether Explicit in a pretty dominant position, but they're still in a pretty dominant position here, and that's sometimes what we see happen with teams once they get the Lord. Maybe not, I don't want to call it sloppy, but maybe a couple of misplays happen when teams kind of overestimate their ability. We do see a little bit of a tap dance happening here up at top. Saba's going to go ahead and try to help out support. We do see the Tyrant's Rage come down. Saba gets taken down by a Dawning Light there, and maybe like biting off a little more than they could chew. Was Aether Explicit right there at the top.
Phoenix, towards the late game, what they need to do is to have Kufra is really the playmaker for this game. He needs to set up some fights for his team to get to the back line of Aether Explicit and trap them into his crowd control in order for Phoenix to inflict damage, because they have a lot of damage, especially towards late game when Carry and Xavier reach their power spike. But it really depends on Kufra making a play.
Yeah, and it probably is on where and how you're making these engagements. If Kufra is charging out there by himself, you're going to have a little bit of issues. We do see this Lord getting picked up here, as Kufra's going to go ahead and try to chase down Temptless, who is doing his best to try to zone out. As he is here, is he going to be able to get in there? It doesn't look like he's going to have to disengage there, as Saba, with that Blazing Duet, is going to be, oh my god! Lord by Vincent with the Dawning Lights, as Pregnant Things is able to take down Bokarasco, and right now, Phoenix Ravens have earned themselves a little bit of breathing room.
The YSS drafts right now is just as a jungler, it's not the best jungler right now to secure these objectives in my personal opinion. It doesn't seem like he's executing the retry at the right time. Maybe he needs to up his retry game, or it's the hero pick.
Yeah, the retro game does need to be up just a little bit there, but that's what we've been talking about, this Dawning Light and what it provides for teams with an Xavier there, especially when you have vision on it. We do see this Luminous Lord marching down at the bottom, but I don't think Aether Explicit is going to have much trouble trying to take it down. The real story going to be happening here up at the top, as we do see Phoenix pushing in with a wave, going to make with a wave, going to make short work of this tower, and right now it's going to be on Aether Explicit to kind of lick their wounds and get back to map control and be a little bit neater on these engagements.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now both sides are kind of at an even position. With that Luminous Lord, Phoenix is able to get down some objectives, as they weren't able to take down Turret in the early game, but with that Lord they were able to take a few turns down and put them on an even stand compared to Aether Explicit. And their draft, in my personal opinion, is more benefited towards the late game, especially with the carry, with carry towards the late game and Xavier having a full build.
Yeah, I really haven't seen much of carry starting to pop off yet, and I feel like the later and later this game goes, the more dangerous that Pregnant Things is going to be on this carry. But we did see, I mean, the last engagement, Pregnant Things was taken down a little early, so maybe not able to pop off. But I mean, as if you get give any more rope to Phoenix Things, you're going to start having issues with this late game. Oh, we do see the Tyrant's Rage come down. Boca Roscoe shocked and taken down quite quickly as the whole of Phoenix Ravens teams does collapse around him. And this, I mean, he's going to be still back up, so not entirely detrimental, but still a mistake for the side of Aether Explicit, as it does leave them a man down. Still 30 seconds left to go on this Lord, though.
You know, with that Kufra engage making plays, providing room for his team to make a play to actually get towards the backline, because Aether Explicit, their draft, their composition is very mobile. All the heroes have pretty high mobility compared to Phoenix, and when you look at carry, it's hard for her to inflict damage if she's unable to get in towards the backline and get Aether Explicit, the champions, to be in a position where he can inflict damage. So it really comes up for Phoenix, because they don't have they didn't pick a support that provides more mobility and heal. They picked crowd control tank. So when that's what they picked, they need to use it to their advantage and make plays.
Yeah, and it is a little bit of a problem I'm starting to see on Aether Explicit's, I want to say, team intros into these fights. Hilda, not a great pick when you are behind. We do see a little bit of engagement up here. Is going to latch on to Pregnant Things. Half damage taken on there, so a good zoning as this Lord is going to go down to the side of Aether Explicit. So a good zoning over there by Sushi, and Inara is going to get caught. A lot of damage coming on him. He's not going to be able to get through as this immortality is activated. Is he going to be able to get out? He is picked off by Jesty, but a CC does land onto Sushi and Templis. So a good pickup. We do have a Lord and a single kill on the side of Aether Explicit, which puts them in a little bit of a good position here for this push.
Yeah, I feel like for this push right now, they should be able to get down at least 1 or 2 inhibitor towers, and it will make it more hard for Phoenix to defend. And with that Esmeralda draft, she's able to rotate towards the side lanes and keep pushing the lanes in for someone to defend on Phoenix side, especially when another objective is coming.
Yeah, we do see this Luminous Lord crashing down in the bottom. All the lanes have been synced up here. We do have a little bit of an engagement down here at bottom. They are trying to zone out with that Blazing Duet. Saba's going to go ahead and get back to a safe distance here. This mid tower, we do see Kufra getting taken down, but Jesty does get taken down, but he does manage to help and get this mid tower. We only have one more inhibitor left, and Aether Explicit is going to be forced to disengage here, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and try to clean up this jungle a little bit before they retreat.
That was definitely a trade in for the benefits of Aether, even though they did lose Jesty, but that's pretty much the only one they lost during that team fight, and they were able to get 2 inhibitor turrets and almost another inhibitor turret down for Phoenix.
Yeah, sadly,
I feel
I feel
in a pretty good position. Yeah.
Yeah, it does put them in a good position, but not as good of a position if they would not have lost Jesty. I feel like when if you overstay your welcome there, you do give the enemy team, you do give Ravens this opportunity to start pushing into their jungle. Whereas if you would have had all 5 members up and disengaged at a proper time, you would have a very different focused Phoenix Ravens here who would be afraid to go into their jungle, which would allow you as Aether Explicit to kind of set up, take the jungle, and maybe set up to kind of like zone out the Lord and see where everybody is now. But right now, what we do see is Phoenix Ravens are able to kind of like force around. They aren't really too intimidated here right now. 30 seconds left on this Lord, though.
Right now, it is we are looking at 20 minutes into the game. So for both sides, regardless of the goal differences, for both sides, they're supposed to be pretty much decked out on items. So right now, it could be anybody's games. It is just that for Phoenix, they do need to look out for their turrets and keep clearing that wave to not have someone steal their base. And right now, we are looking at the Lord is spawning in 4 seconds.
Yeah, right now it's going to start coming down to that macro that we were talking about, is if you can start pushing these waves and get back. We do see a little bit of engagement up at top. Xavier in a little bit of trouble, does get taken down by Saba. This is going to open it up and give an opportunity for Jesse to go ahead and fixate on this Lord. Sushi goes down to Pregnant Thing, so this is a 4-4 match right now, as Hezy's going to have to back up from Boca Roscoe and that damage, but it doesn't look like Phoenix Ravens are going to be able to counter this Lord, as Jesse is just free to do damage right now, and Phoenix Ravens is gonna have to answer this push at top.
We see this towards, except the first main objective, like first turtle. Afterwards, every objective fight we see for Team Aether Explicit, they are pretty much, they only have maybe Claude and Jesse working on the objectives, and all the other heroes, their job is just to zone out Team Phoenix. For them not able to get to Yisanshin and Claude, to not even have a chance to reach the Lord and contest for it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does feel like when you come in and you try to engage by just running forward and running straight at the pack, you're going to definitely have a problem, especially with the team as experienced as Aether Explicit. We do have this Luminous Lord kind of charging here at mid. The top tower is losing a lot of health there as the minion wave crashing in there. Templess is going to be able to get out with a minimal health there. Boca Roscoe does take down that tower, and this might be it as the Lord is putting the damage onto that core. First game going to Aether Explicit.
The game very well played from Aether Explicit side. They had a lot of discipline towards late game, and they're just very good at zoning Phoenix out, especially with their team comp. It's very dive heavy team comp on the side of Aether Explicit. Their